Here's a thought. What if your burnout isn't a weakness, but a sign that your brilliance has been misused or simply unsupported? If you're someone who looks fine on the outside, maybe you're even thriving, but inside you feel exhausted, hollow, or numb, this episode is for you. Because what most people call burnout doesn't even scratch the surface of what high capacity, emotionally intense, gifted women are really going through. This isn't about time management. It's about soul level depletion. Today, we are redefining burnout in a way that speaks to your depth, your sensitivity, and your brilliance. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Power to Flourish podcast, where science meets the art of a beautiful life. I'm Dr. Andrea Line, positive psychologist, giftedness expert and coach, and modern day spiritual godmother to brilliant, deep feeling women. This isn't just another self-help podcast. It's a sanctuary, a sacred space to come back to yourself. Each week, we'll explore the emotional experience of gifted, sensitive women and what it means to live a life that feels as beautiful as it may look. Because flourishing isn't a luxury, it's your birthright, and your life is waiting. This is the Power to Flourish podcast. So most mainstream definitions of burnout focus on overwork and underrest. And sure, that's part of it. But for gifted women, it goes so much deeper. So you might be burnt out from constantly holding space for everyone else, feeling intellectually understimulated, but emotionally overwhelmed, navigating environments that just misunderstand your depth, and trying to shrink your complexity just to get through the day. So honey, you're not lazy, you're not fragile, you're tired from contorting yourself to fit in places that were never really built for someone like you. And trust me when I say you are not alone. Here's what I've seen again and again, both personally and in nearly every gifted client I've worked with, including my friends and family members who happen to be gifted women. Gifted women often burn out not because they're weak, but because they're actually strong for too long in systems that don't support them. So our strength, this high capacity, our ability to do so much can become this, inadvertently becomes this curse, kind of. Like we take on too much because we can. We are capable. We can do it, right? You can do it. We hold it together for everyone else, even when we are unraveling on the inside. And then we set these impossibly high standards. Again, I'm raising my hand. And then we punish ourselves for not reaching them. Does this sound like anything that makes sense? And yet, right? Like, gotta kind of laugh at it a little bit, but otherwise we're going to cry. But this is what we do. This is what we do. So in addition to all of that, right? We're doing all the things. We're doing what is within ours to be responsible for. We're doing that, but then so much more. In all of it, we often we feel unseen. Like even when we're praised, even when we're acknowledged, right? Like we just feel unseen. You might be showing up, you're getting the job done, you're smiling in all the Zoom meetings, but inside, is this you? Like you just feel like you're disappearing? That is not simply performance fatigue. There might be some of that, sure. But this is really, it's soul fatigue. And if you experience this, you know it's bigger. It's bigger than the job. It's bigger than the tasks. It feels like this soul level fatigue. And here is a reframe I want to offer you. Burnout is not a sign that you failed. It is a sign you have outgrown something. Hear that. You have outgrown something. Maybe it's a way of living, maybe it's a way of relating, or maybe it's the way you're working, that no longer honors who you are. Maybe you've been doing this for a really long time, like maybe your whole life. I was kind of like that. And then you just get to a point where you can't. And this quote unquote burnout that you feel is simply your nervous system saying, I can't keep doing it like this, right? It's like our bodies finally just tell us, like, we will just keep going and we'll just keep going because that's what we do. That's what we've done. We know how to do it. And if there's no really good reason to stop, why would we stop? Because look at all the stuff we're getting done, right? But your nervous system finally says to you, I just can't keep doing it like this. Or maybe it's your spirit or God's spirit whispering to you, there has to be another way. Like life just can't feel like this forever, can it? If that is where you find yourself today, I want you to hear this. There is another way, and you don't have to keep doing it like this. Burnout doesn't have to be the end, although it does need to be the end of certain ways that you're doing things. It's really, think of it as this is an invitation. It's an invitation, not to push harder, but to come home to yourself. It's an invitation. In upcoming episodes, I'm going to talk more about nervous system healing and emotional sovereignty, because you can't just mindset your way out of this. You can't just will yourself out of this. You can't just have enough self-discipline to get out of this. You can't work harder or simply even just like set boundaries, although that's great. But you need regulation and restoration and rhythm. So I've walked through this in my own life, sadly to say, more than once. And so I know a thing or two about what the healing and what the path to healing looks like. So again, it's not about doing more, but it is about feeling safe enough to finally do less. Because if you could do less, I mean, obviously you could do less, but most of us who struggle with that, it's because we don't feel safe enough to finally do less. It just doesn't feel, we might not use those words, but that's really what it is. We don't feel safe enough to do less for whatever reason. Part of the healing work is uncovering, discovering what is it that's not making me feel safe, but also practicing how to create that safety. So start by naming the pattern without judgment, right? We just start to name it like, oh, this is this pattern. Like, it seems like even if I have an opportunity to do less, I'm not choosing that. And then notice what your body is trying to tell you. What is your body trying to tell you? Is it trying to tell you to slow down? Is it trying to tell you to not fill up your calendar next month or next week or this weekend, right? Let go of the urgency. How do we let go of the urgency? We choose beauty and we choose rest, not as a reward per se, but just simply as a reclamation of your humanity. Your humanity. You are a human being. You are a person. You have limits. You might feel like Superwoman, and other people might see you that way, and you could do a lot, but you still are human, and you need rest. And we're wired for that, right? And it's also that reminder, not just a reminder, some of us maybe have never learned this to begin with, but to know deep down inside, not just in your head, that your value is not in how much you produce. It never was in how much you produce, and it never will be. So, if you're listening and you're thinking, this is me, I want you to know you're not alone. You're definitely not alone. And you're definitely not broken. And you don't have to push through this. And burnout doesn't mean you failed. I remember when I felt really burnt out, I did feel like I failed. I felt like, gosh, what's wrong with me that I can't handle this all? Now I look back and I'm like, oh my goodness, what was wrong with me that I stayed in those situations? handling it all for so long, right? A different perspective on from a different point of, in the timeline. But yes, burnout doesn't mean you failed. It just means, thank God, you are ready to live differently. Isn't that good? Are you ready to live differently? I hope you say yes. I hope you say yes to yourself. And if you're not quite ready, that's okay too. Sometimes it just starts with simply the awareness before we try to do anything different. So if this episode resonated, I invite you to take my quiz on giftedness. You can find the link in the show notes. You can find it on my website, AndreaLein.com. And it can help you understand more about how your brilliance may have been overlooked or misunderstood. And if you know a woman who is silently suffering behind a very strong exterior, please, please share this with her. She deserves to know there's another way. She deserves to know she's not alone. And finally, if you're loving these episodes, the best way to support the show is to subscribe, leave a review, or like I said, send it to a friend. It helps this message reach the women who need it most. And I am on a mission to help more and more gifted, beautiful women flourish, because I do believe it's our birthright. So until next time, keep flourishing. Thank you for listening to the Power to Flourish podcast. I hope today's conversation left you feeling more seen, more supported, and more deeply connected to yourself. And if this episode resonated, would you take a moment to subscribe, leave a review, or share it with a friend? It's one of the best ways to help this work reach the women who need it most. You'll find show notes, links, and resources from today's episode at powertoflourish.com. And now just a quick reminder, this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. It's not therapy, medical advice, or a substitute for professional support. And listening doesn't make me your therapist or doctor, though if you're looking for a coach, you know where to find me. All right, beautiful one, that's it for now. Until next time, trust yourself, honor your gifts, and keep flourishing.